Hi guys, it's Katie. I'm going to start my food prep for the week. If you saw my meal planning video, this is the same meal plan that I'm working off, so I have some prep work done. I did change my meal plan a little bit. I'm not going to have the sloppy joes because to me it's too similar to the meatball subs. Very similar. So I'm going to have breakfast for dinner. I do have some bacon that I thawed out for the weekend that we didn't end up making a big breakfast for the weekend. So I'll just have bacon and eggs, and I have some bread, so bacon, eggs, and toast for Tuesday night. A lot of this stuff I went over on that video though, so you probably have already seen it. But I'm going to soak some beans, soak some rice. I did find chicken stock, and I did find pasta sauce, so I don't need to make those things. And I do have some frozen hamburger bun so that I'm gonna use for the meatball subs. And since I don't need to make more for the sloppy joes, I don't need to do that either. So it's gonna be a pretty simple meal prep video. I do have some produce. Also, my baby is learning to talk, practicing talking, so you might hear that in the background. But I just have some produce I'm gonna clean up. I have some kale. I've shown this several times. Just wash and destem and have that ready to go. This is going to go in with the, I'm either going to put it in with the ossobuco, or I'm going to have it on the side. I have some radishes for salads. Let's throw this all in the same sink for now. I have some broccoli that I'm going to trim and cut up. Noisy baby. And then I have some cilantro that I'm going to clean. So I'll go ahead and do that really quick. Pretty common sense stuff. You know how to clean vegetables, don't you? Okay, so here's all of my produce all cleaned up. My broccoli, my kale, my cilantro, radishes. I also cleaned up the lettuce. I forgot to pull that out. I found this in the freezer. This is a loaf of like sweet bread. It's not really sweet bread. It's like a cinnamon swirl bread, but I didn't take the time to swirl it. I just mixed the cinnamon in. And it's gonna get crushed in my freezer if I don't go ahead and take it out. So I'm just going to slice it up, and then we'll have that for snacks and stuff this week. And then over here I have some bone broth going. This is like day 2 of bone broth. Don't mind my crazy lid contraption there. It's the little handle is broken, so that's how I open the lid. But this has been going for 2 days, and it's just some beef bones that were in the freezer, so I figured I'd go ahead and make it into broth. I'm going to use some for the ossobuco, and then the rest I'll just put in the freezer. But that's so far what we got going on. I think I'll go ahead and make the bacon so that it's ready to go, and then I can just warm it up, since that's something that would take a while for an otherwise quick meal for that breakfast for dinner. Alright, so since I have my oven going to make that bacon, I'm going to go ahead and roast my sweet potatoes for the sweet potato chili. It's not something that can be made fully ahead of time, but you can roast the vegetables and chop up the vegetables. But the sweet potatoes kind of fall apart, so you kind of mix it up the day you're going to eat it, but you can roast ahead. So that's what I'm going to do. I only have one baking sheet that has sides on it, so hopefully this doesn't make a big mess, and I'm just going to use a regular cookie sheet. I don't peel my sweet potatoes unless they're really, have really gnarly skin, but you can peel them if you want. Alright, next up I'm gonna soak my brown rice. I always forget that I need a funnel for the rice. I got these, not exactly what I think the recipe's called for, but that's what I wanted to try them out. And I got a comment last time I showed my beans that I didn't look through them, check for rocks. That's a bad habit of mine. You should always check your beans for rocks. And I got some black beans too. So those are all ready to soak. I'm going to get something to cover them with. Okay, the last thing I'm going to work on is make some meatballs for the meatball subs. And I'm going to try to use my Rummertoff. I kind of put this away and haven't used it in a while. And recently was reminded that I want to cook with it more. Amanda at Eat Pray Crunch did a chicken in hers that she just recently got, so it's really kind of inspired me. I have some ground beef. And you saw my meatloaf recipe last week. I also don't use a recipe really for meatballs. I have one written down in my recipe book, but I don't really follow recipes when it comes to things like this. So I'm just going to put some ground beef, some breadcrumbs, salt and pepper, some dry basil, dry parsley, some dry oregano from the garden, fennel seed, garlic powder, a couple tablespoons of tomato paste, and an egg. Get this ready and I'll put them right in here to bake them. This is just some pasta sauce I found in the freezer, so I'll put a little bit in the bottom. Still a little bit frosty, but that's alright. I'll go ahead and mix this up. Okay, so this needs to go in a cold oven, so I didn't plan this very well. Should have done this first. But that's alright. I'm just going to stick this in the fridge, and I'll bake either tonight or tomorrow. Alright, so I have my sweet potatoes out of the oven, bacon is out of the oven. So that's all that I'm going to do for this week's food prep. I will put a clip of the meatballs when they come out of the Rummertoff, see how that turns out. So here are the Rummertoff meatballs. They smell amazing, they look really good. So I baked these at 425 for about an hour and a half. So what I did is I took this out of the refrigerator. It was all loaded up, so I took it out of the refrigerator for about 20 minutes. I soaked the lid and I just left this on the counter. So it kind of started to get a little bit of the refrigerator chill. It was still quite cold when I put it in the oven, but I put it in the cold oven. I set it for 425 and I just left it in there for about an hour and a half. And then I turned off the oven and it's been in there for another about a half an hour waiting on dinner to start. But that's looking really delicious. So we're gonna have them on some rolls, some provolone cheese for the others. And that's our dinner tonight. But otherwise, this is my food prep for this week. I hope you enjoyed. Give the video a thumbs up if you did. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!
Have some bacon, Mama?
Nope. It's for dinner.
This for nibble. This for the nibble, Mama.